In the eerie realm of Fromville, the supernatural science fiction thriller series From has ensnared viewers in a web of escalating enigmas, yet it has withheld the dark truths lurking beneath its surface. Welcome back to your nerdy show. I'm your host, Spoiler Master. As the chilling third season reaches its 8th episode, Victor's mind finally unlocks the haunting memories of a fateful encounter between the deceased ventriloquist Christopher and his sinister puppet, Jasper. This revelation may hold the key to unraveling the origins of the monstrous beings that haunt their town. Meanwhile, Fatima grapples with the torment of phantom pregnancy, her body betraying her with its false promises. In a moment of terrifying possession, she succumbs to a malevolent force, leading her to commit an unspeakable act against Tilly in the shadowy confines of the greenhouse. Now, both she and Ellis must confront the horrific aftermath of her actions as the darkness closes in around them.
Filling her head with ideas? What is she, 9?
Jim Versus Jade, Season 3, Episode 8 of From opens with a tense focus on Fatima, grappling with the aftermath of accidentally killing Tilly at the Colony House. Shortly after, we shift to the Matthews family as they make their way back to their home in Fromville. While Jim, Tabitha, and Ethan spent the night at a forest hut, Julie opted to stay at the clinic to avoid being alone in the house. Upon their return, Jim attempts once more to persuade Tabitha that she might be misconnecting unrelated events. He remains skeptical about her childhood nightmares involving totems or statues in the forest, convinced that her troubled mind is distorting her memories. Ignoring his doubts, Tabitha continues on, prompting Jim to reveal the unsettling phone calls he has been receiving. These calls, seemingly from the monsters, impersonate their deceased son, Thomas, with the clear intent of tormenting Jim. As Jim shares the unsettling news about the phone calls with Tabitha, she is equally taken aback. Her husband reveals that a malevolent force at their location seems to know their identities and how to inflict the deepest pain. The memory of their youngest child's loss continues to haunt both Jim and Tabitha, making any mention of the child a source of profound trauma. Even months later, Jim brings up the incident to emphasize the importance of their unity against the sinister presence that seeks to torment them and manipulate their emotions. He urges Tabitha to refrain from embarking on dangerous solo escapades. While Tabitha appears to grasp his concerns and may even concur, their conversation is abruptly interrupted by a knock at the door. It turns out Sarah has been sent by Victor to find Tabitha, prompting her to leave and leaving Jim increasingly exasperated with their predicament. Jim decides to stride over to the local bar, ready to confront Jade, completely disregarding Henry's presence. He entrusts Julie with the care of Ethan, just as he had done before, and storms off to confront Jade. In the last episode, Jim was at the forest hut searching for food supplies with the rest of the team when Tabitha and Ethan arrived with Jade. This led Jim to believe that Jade had persuaded his wife and son to venture into the woods with him, igniting his fury. In a fit of rage, he confronts Jade, even going so far as to threaten him to keep his family out of harm's way. Jade, however, stands his ground, insisting that Tabitha approached him on her own, recognized the sketches he had drawn of the statues, and requested to be taken to see them. Jade firmly points out to Jim that his wife is not someone to be controlled by his commands, and that he should communicate directly with Tabitha if any issues arise between them, rather than dragging her into their conflict. The heated exchange between the two men leads nowhere, but as Henry listens while nursing a few drinks, he gains the opportunity to offer Jim some valuable perspective. He shares that there was a time, many years ago, when he too doubted his wife, Miranda, thinking she was fabricating stories and linking unrelated events out of mere fantasy. When Miranda first spoke of the children in the tower and her vivid visions, Henry dismissed her concerns, much like Jim is doing with Tabitha now. However, those visions turned out to be real, and as a result, Henry lost both his wife and children. He cautions Jim against relying solely on logic to dismiss his wife's experiences and encourages him to trust in Tabitha instead.
How do you know my name?
He needs the rope.
What happened to Julie at Ruins? In the last episode, Julie and Randall ventured out of town and stumbled upon some ancient ruins that instantly gave them an eerie feeling. There was an undeniable energy surrounding the site, and while Randall managed to resist its allure, Julie felt an irresistible pull to investigate further. It was only Randall's insistence that they leave that kept them from delving deeper. as he feared it might bring them harm. However, the haunting memory of the ruins lingered in Julie's thoughts. Later, as they were heading home from the clinic, she brought up the ruins again, but Randall remained convinced that exploring them would lead to trouble. Although Julie tried to dismiss the idea for a while, her perspective shifted when she found herself alone with her brother, suddenly burdened with the responsibility of caring for him. Julie sets off from town with Ethan by her side, eager to revisit the ruins and uncover their secrets. As they stand before the ancient structure, a place she had previously explored with Randall, Julie turns to Ethan for his thoughts on her next move. She likens their adventure to the thrilling tales he often reads in his superhero comics. Young Ethan senses that this is a pivotal moment for Julie. Despite the fear and potential danger that looms, he encourages her to take the plunge, framing it as a courageous act that could ultimately benefit the townspeople. Julie has long been drawn to the mysterious powers hidden within the ruins, and with Ethan's encouragement, she decides to seize the moment without hesitation. As Julie enters the ruins, she is instantly whisked away to a familiar yet haunting space, the very chamber where she, Randall, and Mari were imprisoned during Season 2. The sight is agonizing for her. She witnesses her past self, bound to the wall and crying out in despair. Despite the pain, Julie presses on, only to discover an elderly man in a similar predicament. This man is none other than Martin, whom Boyd encountered in Season 2. He implores Julie to toss a chain into a nearby well. She complies, and to her astonishment, it is revealed that Boyd is trapped within that well. This indicates a bizarre time loop, where Julie is aiding Boyd's escape from the well in the past. However, before the intricacies of this peculiar time loop can unfold, Julie is yanked back to her own reality, where she has been suffering from severe convulsions since entering the ruins. In a rush for help, Ethan has sprinted back to town, and now some of the townspeople arrive to pull Julie from her visions, restoring her to the present.
That was where it happened. That's where I saw Jasper talking to Christopher in the church.
Victor knows everything about Jasper. Is he? Victor had already arrived at Sarah's house in the last episode, expressing his need to access the basement to make the toy puppet Jasper come to life. However, he finds himself unable to accomplish this alone and begins to throw one of his typical childlike fits. In a moment of frustration, he insists that Sarah fetch Tabitha as well. This request stems from the fact that Tabitha had been with Victor in the underground tunnels when he first encountered Jasper as an adult, leading him to believe she might hold the key to making the puppet speak. Soon, Tabitha joins the effort, and together with Sarah, they help Victor piece together the events of the day he witnessed Jasper communicate with Christopher. Although Jasper doesn't magically start talking, Victor comes to the realization that it was never intended to happen, as his memories had been flawed all along. On that fateful day in his childhood in Fromville, Victor witnessed Christopher conversing with someone in the church basement. Now, as Tabitha and Sarah lead him back to that very place, he comes to the startling realization that the ventriloquist was not speaking to Jasper after all. Instead, it was the enigmatic boy in white. As memories flood back, Victor recalls the entire exchange between the boy and Christopher. The boy in white had shared a haunting tale about a group of children who faced betrayal from those they loved, leading to their tragic and brutal demise for reasons unknown. Even after their burial on the rocks, these children's spirits clung to a flicker of hope, a hope nurtured during their brief and challenging lives. This enduring hope somehow gave rise to a tree at the site, which ultimately became known as the Faraway Trees. The boy in white urged Christopher to assist the children by passing through the distant tree to rescue those trapped in the tower. However, the ventriloquist dismissed these claims, labeling the boy a liar, possibly due to his own past harshness towards some kids. This recollection sparked a realization in Victor. The enigma of Fromville and the terrifying monsters were intertwined with the tragic experiences of children who had been wronged by those they once trusted. As young Victor absorbed the conversation and witnessed Christopher's refusal to act, he hurried home to share everything with his mother. This prompted Miranda to leave her children in town and head towards the lighthouse in a bid to save the kids. Yet, how these revelations connect to the larger narrative remains uncertain, and we can only hope to uncover more in the final episodes of From Season 3.
This is for the best.
Where is Fatima? After Fatima unintentionally takes Tilly's life at Colony House, she is swiftly removed from the scene and taken to a secluded shack by Boyd, located away from the town's hustle. Meanwhile, an investigation into the incident kicks off, with many, including Donna, pointing fingers at Sarah as the likely culprit. Boyd and Ellis work hard to keep Fatima's actions under wraps for a while, but eventually they must come clean to Donna about the truth. Furious, Donna insists that Boyd must reveal everything to the townsfolk. Despite the pressure, Boyd stands by Fatima, considering her part of his family, and makes plans for her and Ellis to stay hidden for a few days. While all this unfolds, Fatima finds herself alone in the shack, setting the stage for unexpected events to unfold in town. Elgin appeared to be receiving cryptic instructions from the spectral woman through the camera he had discovered, which now guided him down a perilous route to extract his own blood and store it in a plastic bag. The camera, seemingly operating on its own, directed Elgin to Fatima's concealed location, and he managed to bring her to the underground shelter he had previously located, again aided by the camera. It became clear that Elgin had been transformed into a servant, or pawn of the creatures, as he forcibly confined Fatima in the shelter, insisting that it was crucial for her to give birth. He also disclosed that Fatima was indeed pregnant, but the revelation that the fetus was not human hinted at something monstrous lurking within her. At this point, it's uncertain if Elgin has fully turned against humanity, or if he's employing a strategy to protect the townspeople from impending threats. It's possible that Fatima may need to be sacrificed for the greater good, prompting Elgin to confine her in the underground shelter without hesitation. This predicament is dire for Fatima, as well as for Ellis and Boyd, who will undoubtedly embark on a quest to find her. The question of whether they can save Fatima from Elgin and whatever is developing within her remains unanswered, as From gears up for a thrilling conclusion to Season 3. So this was for today's folks. See you in our next video. Till then, bye-bye and take care.
Christopher wouldn't listen.
No, what the heck, I'll laugh anyway.